Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of Healthy Happy Humans podcast. And I hope you're going to get a lot of benefit from this podcast because it's a really important one in that it's a very personal one. I'm going to be sharing with you what habits changed my life the most because it's something I get asked on a very regular basis and got asked at Healthy Happy Humans Live Liverpool last weekend as well. And I get messaged about it a lot online. And I want to do this particular episode on this one, to kind of piggyback a lot of the recent episodes where I've been taking, the most popular questions out there around, living your best life, feeling yourself, your best self, loving yourself, turning your dreams into reality, and so on. And I hope you've been finding recent episodes really beneficial because they've all been, again, building towards this one. And so on this one, I'm going to share with you the habits that changed my life the most. Like I said, it's a very personal one, and I really love to get your feedback on it, your thoughts, your comments, whatever maybe you maybe can add to it from your own personal experience. And just to add a bit of context for those of you who don't know much about me, my journey, who I am and so on, and what got me to this point where, I'm over 30 years now committed, dedicated to living what I feel is my purpose. Apart from my son, that's my other purpose, to making a positive impact in people's lives. And I do that through educating, motivating, inspiring, and hopefully again in being a good role model in living how I do, and that helps people. So, just let's go through it. So 7 I want to go through with you that were the main habits that changed my life. And again, a bit of context, if I go back to the period of time between I was 7 and 17 is a really crucial time in my life. Like, I had a good upbringing, I had amazing parents. Nothing ever really happened to me that was really bad, no major traumas, nothing like that. But for one reason or another, I suppose a few little things accumulated that between 7 and 17, I absolutely hated myself. I absolutely hated myself, despised myself. I genuinely didn't want to be here. I'm very close to suicide a number of times, cried myself to sleep most nights. What compounded and made it even worse was that I was the type of person I wanted to help people and make them feel happy, even from a very young age, which kind of is no surprise then I ended up doing what I have ended up doing. And I do believe that things happen for a reason to a certain degree in terms of we can let things define us, we can let things be a springboard for us to have a positive impact on our own lives and other people's lives. And, that's where things happen for a reason. Our path, nothing is insignificant. Everything can lead to something. And aside from me, that period of time was really crucial because on the external, everyone thought I was happy, everything was cool, there was no problems, I was at peace with myself and so on. Internally, which is why I hid from everybody, and it's only in recent years I've even shared this with anybody. I hated myself and I said I didn't want to be here and I cried myself to sleep and was close to suicide and so on a number of times. That's where I was. So, when we talk about habits to change my life, I can't but start with what did actually change my life. And what changed my life was taking that action of getting into the gym to do exercise, to do weight training. That was all part of a health journey I then went on when I felt the benefit of it and when it really sparked something in me that made me feel better about myself. So, like I was pushed and pushed and pushed to go into the gym just by a friend in college who wouldn't stop badgering me. And eventually I just said, look, I'll go once and shut the guy up and he'd leave me alone then. But I went in and I never came out. And that was the start of a health journey for me. There was a start of a evolution for me from a health perspective. Because like I stress to people, I'm 31 years now evolving into a better version of myself. And that's a real key lesson and mantra for you to take on, to be committed to evolving into a better version of yourself. So regaining control of my health was really important. It wasn't that I was super unhealthy or we had a horrific lifestyle, but we had what was fairly standard back then. Like we would have eaten a lot of junk, processed food, like you used to work off budgets. Yes, I was active, but I wasn't active in terms of like gym base and physical body base. And I hated my body, absolutely hated my body. So when I got into the gym and I started focusing on exercise, then went on to improve my nutrition, then went on to improving my own psychology and working on my mental health and my emotional health, working on sleep, hydration, all these different areas, all these different aspects of health. That changed my life forever. And this is what has given me that burning passion to help others because I truly 100% believe that when you've controlled the mind, body, health area of your life, so you have a good foundation and you're constantly building on it because you can constantly build and build and build. It isn't the case if you get to the point, yeah, that's done, boxed, I'm in control of my health. It's something you can continuously improve, but there is a level to get to that is a really good foundation, that you feel good in yourself, you like how you look, you like how you feel, and then that is a catalyst for impact, a positive impact in all areas of your life. That's why if you get control of that, every other area of your life will improve. Relationships, your professional life, your financial health, all these different things. So that's how powerful and important health is. So the most important habit for me to change my life was getting control of my health, taking that step towards it. And that's what's key as well, small steps. Okay. So I took small steps, went to the gym, went to the gym again, went to the gym again, started getting the habit of going most days. That then had an impact then on how I ate, because I wasn't getting the results I expected from my efforts. So, okay, how can I improve my nutrition? Made improvements there, made improvements in hydration. Then I got to understand the importance of psychology and your thought process and the negative voices and the positive voices and how to manage that. And, all these different aspects and sleep and so on, all these different aspects of health and how important they are. And as I said, that's where my evolution has been. And for you, again, it's evolution, evolution, evolution. And this takes on to the second habit. Second habit, I would say, is continuous learning. Again, that commitment to continuous learning. Never feeling that, oh, I'm there, I know what I want. I've done that in my health life. I've done it in my professional life. I've done it around money and finances. I've done it in relationships. In all areas of my life, I'm committed to continuous learning all the time, always learning more and more and more. And this is where I go back to. It's about it's a mantra I keep stressing to you all the time. Be committed to evolving into a better version of yourself. Because when you're committed to evolving, you're always taking steps in the right direction. And continuous learning is a huge part of that. It's such an important habit. It's like every day I read, watch, or listen to something that's positive, personal development, self-growth, educational in an area I want to develop in. I'm always learning. Even like the thing of learning new skills, that push yourself to use your brain, that uses different parts of your mind, your brain, your skills, your anatomy that you're not used to, and it's getting outside your comfort zone, but continuous learning. So it's like for me, when I started off and I was exercising, and I was exercising even 3 hours a day for 5 days a week at one stage, as well as playing sports, but I wasn't looking how I wanted to. So that's what got me into looking at nutrition. I was there, right, I'm exercising 3 days a week. Yes, I look better than I did, let's say 6 months ago when I first started 17, but I don't have a six pack. I'm not close to six pack yet. What's going on? And that got me into researching nutrition. And I've continuously researched nutrition, see how can I do better to burn fat faster, to build muscle quicker, to recover from injury quicker, prevent injury better. Because again, the strength of your tendons, ligaments, muscles, and bones is key to injury prevention, and also then like flexibility and so on. And also for longevity and health and pushing disease away. So it's always been continuous learning. And it started purely aesthetics, all I cared about. Went more onto performance, and when I got into endurance sports like triathlon, marathons, Ironman. And then it's moved more and more now into longevity, health, disease prevention, my future, and so on, living a very long life well into my hundreds. So continuous learning. And that piggybacked my first habit of prioritizing my health in small steps. And again, I stress small steps. It could be listening to something for 5 minutes. It could be I always say, use your car as like university. Instead of listening to rubbish on the radio, turn on like a podcast or an audiobook, something that will be beneficial to you. There's so many opportunities. We have time. It's not time management, it's self-management. Look at where you're wasting time and then make it more productive. Okay? So that's really important. So continuous learning is really, really important. Next one, number 3, habit that changed my life the most, I would say reflection. This is something that, especially in the modern world and increasingly over the last 10, 15 years especially, is becoming less and less likely for most people. And the reason is because most people are on a hamster wheel. It's got faster and faster and faster and faster, and people feel they have to keep going, going, going. And social media has made people very reactive. So they're always reacting to something. Someone calls them, texts them, messages them, social media notifications, do this task, that task, and so on. And whether it be family stuff, work stuff, or whatever. So always doing something, always busy, 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 but never actually stopping to think, am I doing the most productive things? Am I doing the actual priorities? And most importantly, am I on the right path? Am I actually on the path to turn my life into what I want? Because you have a life vision, just like I had a life vision, of what I wanted my life to look like. And if you're not taking the right action and on the right path, you're not going to make that life vision become your lived reality. It's not possible. Same with every goal. If you've got a goal, that's great. But if you don't take the required action, that goal will never become your lived reality. So you need to stop, press stop. And I recommend to everybody that every weekend, so this was started many years, probably about 20 years ago. It was a very important habit, and it's one I stress to our clients and our community all the time. Every Sunday, take just 15, 20 minutes to reflect and review the previous 7 days and looking at what did I do, what did I not do, what could I have done better, what had I said I would do and I did do or I didn't do. What goals I set for the week, what targets, what non-negotiables, and did I do them, did I not do them? Reflect, review from that perspective, and then use that information to plan the next 7 days. And plan the next 7 days to be better than the previous 7 days. That's the key. Again, the mantras I always stress. Today be better than yesterday. This week be better than last week. What's the next positive step I can take? And be committed to evolving to a better version of yourself. Those four. Live by those four. Your life will continuously change for the better. But reflection. Every Sunday, take 15, 20 minutes and do that exercise. It's life-changing. It changed my life forever. And what built up that actually was a reflection exercise one of my mentors got me to do, again, 25 years ago or so, which was, I thought it was super productive. And he said, look, write down everything you're doing all day, literally everything for a week, and then look at it and see what you're actually spending your time doing. And I at the time thought it's be a bit of a waste of time because I'm super productive. I'm doing this, doing that. I was shocked. I was shocked at the amount of time I was actually wasting doing stuff that wasn't a priority and stuff that was actually a waste of time, scrolling social media, things like that. So I was able to buy back a lot of time, but it only came because I wrote that down and I reflected on it. And that's why I morphed then into like having that weekly reflection. But you can also do it at the end of your days. It's really good to spend a minute or two at the end of your day reflecting on the day and what again was good, what could have been better, and then use that to plan the next day. So you can reflect every week, like I say on Sundays, at the end of each day. Also, I'm always working with our clients on doing a reflection at the end of the month or start of the month, whichever way you want to have it, about that month, end of quarters, and end of years. So end of a year, end of a quarter, end of a month, end of a week, end of a day. And like at the end of your day, a powerful reflection that again had a huge impact on my life and still continues to do, because we live in a fast-paced life and our natural instincts to put ourselves down and feel we're never doing enough, and we focus so much on what we're not doing, never thinking about what we are doing. I identify 3 wins from the day. I do this still every day. It's the last thing I do. I do it lying in bed before I go to sleep. 3 wins from the day. They can be anything, but they're wins. And they're forward moving and they're boxes you ticked. You could easily not have. You will feel empowered by it. You will feel happy about it. You will feel satisfied. You will feel accomplished. And look, there's lots of days we feel like our day was shit and that we didn't accomplish much. But it's because we're focusing on what we didn't do. And it's terrible energy, and it will negatively impact your sleep, which then will negatively impact the next day. And it's a cumulative effect in the bad way. Identify 3 wins, 3 things that were wins for the day. And I guarantee you will feel better. And then 3 things I'm grateful for from the day. So I'm going to sleep feeling quite at peace, quite happy, quite satisfied, knowing I've progressed and, feeling, my mind is settled and at peace and I'll sleep better. So important. So reflect, really, really important. Next one, I would say, in terms of habit, I would say keep promises to myself. This is a big one because it's very easy to, I suppose, putting other people first is a big one. Like I learned, again, a long time ago, the importance of putting on your own oxygen mask first. So POEM principle, put on your own oxygen mask first. So, it's easy to take care of other people. It's easy to put other people first. It's easy. You have your goals and dreams, but you're putting other people's goals and dreams first. Things that you need to do, you're doing whatever other people need you to do. Because remember, it's what they need. It's a priority to them. Doesn't mean it should be a priority to you, but most people live lives where they're living by other people's priorities. Like I speak a lot about how you hold a pen writing your life script. Most people, you give them the pen to someone else and they're living by someone else's version of their own life, which is crazy when you think about it. But I became committed to keeping promises to myself. And even take, for instance, when I was growing up, and I call that to teenage years, I was in college and things like that. And it became about, where you're going with your life and your path and your career and stuff like that. And this was a crucial turning point. And in terms of keeping promises to myself, I was offered, when I finished college, I was offered a very lucrative job in Oxford. I think it was starting on 100 grand or something. And that was back in 1999. So that was a lot of money and huge prospects because I did my work placement there in an investment and bonds bank. And I did well because, again, if I do something, I do it well. I give it my best and I'll always leave an impression because another mantra I've always had is be the best at anything I do and also be memorable. And I accomplished that. So they offered me a massive job. And why I'm saying about this ties into keep promises to myself. I promised myself growing up that I will do something that fills me with passion. I will do something I love. I will never work just to work or work for money. I will never be a slave to money. I will always do things that I enjoy to feed my soul, that make me feel happy. And then increased the more I was working myself from 17, tying into the things I said earlier about how I felt 7 to 17. So as I started my health journey, as I started continuous learning, as I started reflecting, that got more and more empowered and powerful in that I'm going to do the things that I want to do. And I promised myself that. So I kept that promise to myself. And I kept that promise because when I got offered that job, I turned it down. I started working in a leisure centre for 7,000 a year, with what everyone on the external saw as zero prospects and saw it as absolute madness. But I kept that promise to myself. And I was pretty much disowned from the family. I was laughed at. I was mocked because it was just so idiotic in other people's viewpoints. But to me, I was on my right path. Now, again, it's where your decisions and your actions shape your future. I promised myself I would do something I loved and never just do things for work or money. I stuck to my promise. So the more I stuck to my promises, and the same with everything along the way, where maybe people gave opinions, shared advice, but I had my own way and my own vision of what I wanted to do, and I stuck to my promises. I kept promising myself. And that ties into, again, even the habits of, again, around the health and so on and the learning, where, look, there's loads of times I didn't want to do it. I'm the same as you. Do you think I want to exercise every day or whenever I go to exercise? Of course I don't. I would say in my lifetime of 31 years of consistently exercising and prioritizing it, I have wanted to work out or not wanted to work out, I'd say 95% of that time. But it's a non-negotiable, something I have to do. So I promise I'm going to do this number of workouts. I promise I'm going to eat well this number of days. I promise myself I'm going to get this sleep. I promise I'm going to keep learning. I promise I'm going to reflect. So on and so on. So I'm living true to my values. I'm living true to what's right for me. Living by the poem principle. Put on your own action mats first. So keeping promises to myself is so important. And that builds your resilience. That builds your own fortitude in living your life because it's so key to live your life. And, all of these things are really key because, each of the habits I'm saying, they're like stacking on top of each other. And I always say there's two superpowers. One is that you truly love yourself. Love yourself, embrace who you are, embrace your uniqueness, just absolutely love who you are. And like the first few habits I've said and the ones after are all part of creating that. Like I hated myself 7 to 17. I mean, I truly hated myself. Honestly, I did not want to be here. I've stood in bridges, I stood in middle of roads, I stood in side road ready to jump in front of the first car, I've stood on train tracks ready to jump in front of a train. Like I've done those things. I hated myself. I did not want to be here. But the more I kept my promises to myself, the more I worked on my health, the more I reflected, the more I moved my life forward in terms of how I felt about myself, my own self-love, my self-esteem, self-image, self-confidence, my health, my well-being, how I felt about my body, how my body looked, my energy, how my body functions, how I felt about that even aesthetically and so on. How that then impacted my other areas of my life, like my relationships, my professional life, which was going on an upward curve as these things were improving. Because I started my own business at 20. So if I hadn't taken care of my health and controlled it, if I hadn't kept promises to myself, I would never start a business at 20 years of age or 21 years of age. It would never have happened. But I did because I had developed that kind of confidence and I had made that promise to myself. And I was growing a love for myself. At that stage, it was 4 or 5 years in when I first started my business, and I was achieving a lot and, really climbing in my recognition and my credibility locally and my achievements and my results and stuff with clients. So I was growing to truly love myself. And I can say now, hand in heart, I truly love myself and I have done for a very long time. But it's a continuous process. I will keep working on loving myself because it's not something that stops. You have to keep going, keep working on it. But I'm in a very good place and I have been for a long time now. So loving myself is so key to all of that. And that's the first superpower. Second superpower, which ties into the next habit that changed my life the most, is truly not giving a shit about the opinion of others. Really not caring about the opinion of others. Goes back to what I said a little while ago about most people actually have someone else holding the pen writing their life instead of them holding it themselves. They're living by other people's desires, or visions for you instead of living your own vision, writing your own script. So the next habit that was really important for me to develop, which as I go back to like habit 2, continuous learning and being around people and mentors and stuff, changing my environment was one of the most important habits of all. And it's a hard one because we all have friends in our lives, we all have family members in life, we have people around us. We need to be conscious of the importance of changing our environment if it doesn't work for us, if it doesn't serve us. It's like with clients now, I stress all the time, audit your circle regularly. Look at everyone in it and go, do they add to my life or are they taking from it energetically or emotionally or potentially financially or all three or two of them? So looking at those things, are they taking from it? How do you feel even when you're going to meet them? How do you feel even when you see a phone call coming in or you get a message from them? Does it make your heart sink? Does it change your emotional state in a negative? Or when you're going to meet them, you're literally excited that you're going to meet them because you know they're an uplifting type person. You know that you have a good connection. You know that you always feel good after being with them. Because if you don't feel good with those people, they need to get out of your life. Are they adding to your life? Are they taking away from your life? And your own circle, you need to do that. You are better to be solo than have people who are taken from your life energetically, emotionally, or financially. So audit your circle regularly. It was probably, out of all these habits, it was one of the most important without a doubt. Because the people we surround ourselves has a huge impact on our psyche, our thought process, all those kind of things. And also the decisions and actions we make, because we do become a sum of the people that we surround ourselves in. So when I was making decisions of like that, continuous learning, and that developed into me going to events and seminars, in hiring mentors, traveling around the world, going to, again, mentorships and boot camps in terms of business or, when I was learning strength conditioning or any of these different things, my areas of my life I was working on, I was around like-minded people, and being around like-minded people really fed my soul. It really boosted me up. It gave me an idea of where to get to. So if they were further along, you can see where you can get to. Their opinions mattered because they're on the same wavelength. They were like-minded. They wanted the same things out of life. They were supportive. This is the importance of community. Have people in your life who support you and want you to win. Because we live in a world where most people are very selfish and self-absorbed. They don't want you to win, because if you're winning and they're not, you're like holding up a mirror to them and it's making them feel bad. So that's why, unfortunately, and it can be family and friends, they will start trying to tear you down and put down your efforts and your results and make you feel like you're not getting anywhere because they want to pull you back to their circle, their level, because you're holding a mirror to them, showing them their inadequacies. And if they're not willing to take action to move towards it, you're constantly reminding them. And that's where you have to audit your circle. Because if you have people like that who are always negative around you, always negative about everything you do, and like me breaking free of certain people over my lifetime who were like that was so crucial. Probably the most important thing in my life, really, because it keeps you sucked in there. It keeps you limited in what your potential can be. And not just in success and money and all that stuff, but happiness. Because the more successful you are in terms of creating your lived reality of what you want your vision to be, the more you succeed in the way whatever success means to you, you will be happy. So you're literally allowing other people to hold you back from you being happy. And that needs to be your ultimate goal in life anyway. Okay? So change your environment. Audit your circle regularly. Look at your friends and family. Can you be family? Sometimes you have to limit your exposure to it or completely eliminate, whether it be fully or for a period of time. Are they adding to your life or are they taking from it? If they're taking from it, you need to limit or eliminate. If they're adding, amazing. Seek out people who will add. Surround yourself with the right people. Join communities. Go to mentorships and workshops and stuff with people who are looking to be on the same path as you. They want to develop and grow. That was life changing. I have lifelong friendships now, people I met 25 years ago when I started my journey, 25, 30 years ago, going to events, who have been growing, and we're all at different levels, but we're on the same wavelength. And if I haven't spoken to someone for a year, we speak, it's like we're connected, because again, that's my people. They're the people who are like-minded. They're the people who are supportive, and they're genuinely happy if they see me succeed at anything, just like I'm genuinely happy seeing their development and rise in their own personal career and industry. So change your environment. It's massive. It's no different like a fishbowl. Like, I can't remember the exact thing, but it's like a fishbowl and it has dirty water. The environment is bad, the fish will die. Change the water regularly, the fish is going to live. Okay, change the environment. Okay? Next one, in terms of habit to change my life the most, would be gratitude. Gratitude is massive. I touched on it a little while ago where before sleep, as well as 3 wins, I identify 3 things I'm grateful for that day. Gratitude is powerful. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in the world. If you express gratitude and think of gratitude and think things you're grateful for, again, like with exercise, you can't but feel better. It's impossible. It's impossible. That's why I encourage everyone to do it at night time. 3 wins, 3 things you're grateful for. Because you go to sleep feeling at peace. Because you're realizing, oh, I've all those things to be grateful for. Because there's always people worse off than you. There's always people better off than you. But you have to focus on your own little world. What are you grateful for in your own little world? And because, again, in the fast-paced world we're living in and the hamster wheel type existence, it's too easy to get caught up in what you don't have and get caught up in what you're not doing. And then you're not even aware of all things to be grateful for. And you're only focused on things you don't have. And you're striving constantly for what you don't have. Focus on what you're grateful for. 3 gratitudes into your day, powerful. Have a gratitude journal. Journaling in general is really good. Part of even like the reflection side, which I didn't mention, the journaling side of it. But gratitude is powerful. Express gratitude. Write it, think it. Like when I wake up in the morning, one of my habits I do is, again, I think of 3 things I'm grateful for that particular morning, waking up. And then at the end of my day, I'm doing the same. And if I ever am feeling overwhelmed, I'm having negative emotions taken over, I feel I'm not enough, I feel I'm not getting places and stuff like that, when I go into a negative emotional state, I'll always go to gratitude because that's guaranteed to bring me back up again. Okay, so gratitude, get into the habit of expressing gratitude and identifying what you're grateful for. And the last habit I'm going to share with you that changed my life the most would be, it's quite simple really, but it's the hard part because we gravitate towards the easier options as humans. Taking action. Taking action, taking it consistently, being disciplined about it. It's like go through all the habits I've said, like in terms of, prioritize my health and well-being, continuous learning, reflecting, making sure I, keep my promises to myself, changing my environment, expressing gratitude, writing gratitude. All of those are about taking action. All of them are easy to not do. Many days we've gone, I don't want to exercise, I don't want to eat right, I can't be bothered going shopping today, I don't want to prepare the food, I want to stay up later, I don't want to get up, I don't want to do journaling, I don't want to learn this, I can't be bothered going to this event today or jumping on this webinar, so on and so on. But if you don't take action, you can't move forward. Your life is shaped by the actions you take. Your life is shaped first by the decisions you make, but it's great making decisions, but they only become reality if you take action on them. A lot of people throw out intentions. They want this, they're going to do this, and so on, but they never do anything. So there's intention, then there's this solid decision, and there's taking action. So when the habit that definitely changed my life the most, if we were to summarize everything, is taking action. So I'm an action taker, and I'm seen that way. And I turn things from visions to live reality really quick. But it's because, again, 31 years evolving, working on my mind, working on my self-belief, working on keeping promises to myself, working on my confidence, self-esteem, self-image, working on my confidence in my industry and believing I'm the best at what I do. Action, 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 action. And once you're consistently taking action, your life can only move forward. Now, what's really key is get into your head small steps. About taking action. Every step, there's no such thing as an insignificant step. All that matters is forward movement. So it's like the 4 mantras I said. Today be better than yesterday. This week be better than last week. What's the next positive action step I can take? Again, what's the next positive action I can set? And be committed to evolving to a better version of yourself. With all of them, it's just about forward motion. It's about taking action. But it doesn't have to be giant leaps. Get away from this expectation or feeling you have to take giant leaps. Giant leaps will not get you places because you're going to be constantly looking for, how do I find a giant leap? It's not out there. It's like the lotto mentality. It's like people are constantly going to events about making loads of money overnight. It doesn't happen. There's no overnight millionaires. There's no one pill to suddenly have a perfect body. These things don't happen. It takes consistent, positive, progressive action in whatever area of your life you want to improve. You want to improve your relationships, continuous, positive, progressive action. You want to improve some aspect of your health, continuous, positive, progressive action. You want to improve some area of your professional life, job, career, business, whatever it may be, continuous, positive, progressive action. You want to improve your financial health and well-being, continuous, positive, progressive action. Taking action is the habit you need to embrace and go with. One of the most important ones for all of us. Because like I said, you can have intentions, great. You can have decisions, great. But without the action, nothing changes. So whatever life vision you have for yourself, taking action will make it become your lived reality. And that's what the power we all have. All right. So I hope this episode has been useful for you. I just wanted to, as I said, the last few episodes have been answering a lot of the questions and I hope they've been really helpful. But in this one was to share the habits from a personal point of view that have changed my life the most. And these are the ones that changed my life the most. Again, prioritize my health. As I said, that's what from 17, after the period of 7 to 17, changed my life forever. From 17 onwards, continuous growth. Being committed to improving my health all the time. Prioritizing my health on all aspects of it. And like I said, it went from aesthetics to performance to longevity, disease prevention, and so on. Okay? Continuous learning. Never stop learning. It's like the Kaizen method, the Japanese phrase that never ending learning, constantly learning, 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 in whatever area or all areas of your life that you want to improve on. Reflection, so important. Press the stop button. Press that stop button. As I say, usually every Sunday, at the end of every day, end of every month, end of every quarter, end of every year. Press the stop button, reflect, review, plan. Powerful, so important. Keep your promises to yourself. You are the most important person in your life. You are the most important person in your life. And if you can't keep promises to yourself, how can your life improve? Stop putting everyone else first. Put you first. Put on your own action maps first. Keep promises to yourself. Change your environment. Do an audit of your circle on a regular basis. And if people are taking from it, energetically, emotionally, or financially, limit your exposure to them or just eliminate them. And if people are adding to your life, amazing. Keep them there and keep them rich in those relationships. And then actively seek out other like-minded people. Go to groups, go to workshops, go to events, join communities, online and offline, get mentors, all those kind of things. The people are there, but get your tribe, get your like-minded people. Express gratitude. Do it daily. Do it a few times a day. But especially at the end of your day and at the start of your day, I would highly recommend. And most importantly, take action. Consistently take action, but again, small. Take big ones, big leaps if you get to that point where you've got momentum and self-belief and so on. But in general, take action, whatever action. It's like the tortoise and the hare. It's about getting there, about making progress, get there in the end. So that's it from this episode of Healthy, Happy Humans podcast. I know you forgot to name my own podcast there. Healthy, Happy Humans podcast. I hope you found this beneficial. Please follow and subscribe. It helps so much. You've no idea how much it helps because it just tells the algorithm that you liked it and then it'll tell other people. Leave your comments. Leave your what you thought of this episode. Leave your feedback. Leave anything you feel would add value to share. I'm very open to you leaving things there and questions and let's have discussions. But share this out there with anyone you feel it would add value to share even with one person. Again, it would be powerful. You can play an impact. You can play a role in positive impact in their lives. So that's it for this episode. Look forward to speaking on the next one. I hope you're enjoying these podcasts. And if you're a new follower of the podcast, I hope you'll be a follower for a long time. Take care. Have a good one. And again, like the final habit, take action.